Hello, my name is Henry Keane. This is News Pulse at UATV. You're sincerely welcome to the Daily Show. Today in the episode, the city of Ufa, Russia, oil refinery is on fire, and that is 1,400 kilometers from Ukrainian borders, by the way. Trump blackmails Europe and allies to quit sending weapons for Ukraine. Europe has paid for Pearl program. New drone interceptor meet Via Strela, the arrow in English, shows unbelievable result. Look into our exclusive story for you. Russian city of Ufa, located 1,400 kilometers from the border with the Ukraine, oil refinery there engulfed in flames after drone attack. Residents report on social media that they were awakened for the sound of explosions. Shortly after that, a fire broke out in one of the districts in the city's industrial zone. Local authorities confirmed the attack. According to them, several drones were shot down as they approached the oil refineries. But we all know if local Russian authorities are talking about a few drones, there were plenty of them, no doubt about that. The unmanned system forces have destroyed 95 enemy air defense systems since the beginning of the year, according to Robert Bloddy, the commander of the unmanned system forces of Ukraine. Nearly half of all these were targeted in March, indicating the obvious: Ukrainian drone activity is increasing and exponentially. Last night, Ukrainian drones targeted a rare and extremely expensive Imbir Ginger, in English, radar station in Luhansk region, and also Tor-M2, surface-to-air missile system in Donetsk region. The first target was completely destroyed, while the second one was successfully struck and severely damaged. Ukrainian forces have struck a military facility, Strela plant in Bryansk Oblast in the Russian Federation. This is the company producing components for cruise missiles. The successful attack was confirmed by General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and still full data on the full scale of the enemy's losses here is subject to be confirmed. US President Donald Trump threatened to stop weapons supplies to Ukraine under the prioritized Ukraine requirements list known as Pearl program, unless European allies join the operation to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Last month, Donald Trump demanded that NATO allies help him reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran had blocked, but was rebuffed by European capitals. Three officials familiar with the matter report that in response, Trump threatened to stop supplies of United States weapons to Ukraine under the Pearl program, which is financed by NATO member states. As a result, and at the behest of NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, a group of countries that included key alliance members like France, Germany, and the United Kingdom released a hastily drafted statement saying they were willing to, quote, contribute to appropriate efforts, end of quote, to ensure safe passage through the strait. The Financial Times also reports that Mark Rutte had taken part in numerous phone calls with Donald Trump and US Secretary of State Marco Rubio before the statement was finally issued. Whether it is better to have an ally who blackmails you or to have no ally at all, that I don't know, and I will allow myself to remain correctly silent here on the issue and simply will state the bare fact. Looking at Mark Rutte and allies hastily drafting agreements and etc., it's quite sad to watch how these days international courage dies before it has been even properly born in an allied attempt to end something that allies did not start in the first place, and the one who started it just does not even need it.
The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated, both militarily and economically and in every other way. And the countries of the world that do receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on.
But maybe, just maybe, we all, as species, should not be having any disappointing and discouraging and misleading things, like those of free will, freedom of speech, obviously outrageously outdated values, including that international law and order. Instead, maybe what we all should be doing is listening carefully to what Donald Trump says to understand how to resolve any issue with the President of the United States these days.
They said, what do you mean you have regime change? My friend, great show. I love this guy. He's so nice to me. Every time I watch, and I appreciate. You know, we're not supposed to be seduced that way, right? But I am. When somebody's nice to me, I love that person. Even if they're bad people, I couldn't care less. I'll fight to the end for them.
Well, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky just cannot afford such an attitude of associating himself with the chair he is sitting in. And carpe diem just does what best for his country.
As of today, we are already cooperating substantively with Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, and Qatar. Work with Jordan is ongoing. We are also in communication with Bahrain, Kuwait, and Iraq. Rustam Umarov also reported on the planned work with countries outside the Middle East, namely with Turkey and some others that have significant potential. Ukraine is grateful to everyone in the world who works in this way, joining forces to protect people and critical infrastructure. Our military expertise is already producing results. Our interceptors are already producing results. We already have several long-term agreements on cooperation and mutual reinforcement and are preparing new solutions. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Well, for those asking, what is it that Ukraine is selling in the first place today? And for those who somehow missed it, not understanding where is it exactly from Ukrainian military expertise is coming, President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, explains it and reminds it, also reminding not only why and how, but what for Ukraine is fighting for.
For nearly the entire day, our warriors have been intercepting Russian drones. Air raid alerts were active in most regions, and more than 700 Russian drones were launched, a significant number of them Shaheds. The interception rate over the past 24 hours has been quite high, around 90%, but of course it needs to be higher. I spoke with the American team, in particular, about this. Different signals are needed, and a ceasefire during Easter could be the signal that tells everyone diplomacy can succeed. Ukraine is doing everything to support efforts toward peace.
5 European nations, Germany, France, Poland, the United Kingdom and Italy, announced the launch of a program to develop low-cost drones and air defense systems. The project is based on Ukrainian experience gained over 4 years of full-scale war. Germany was amongst the first to respond, supporting a new Ukrainian development, the Via Strela Arrow drone interceptor, designed to target Shahed-type UAVs. We offer you an exclusive footage right from the closed facility where these are actually made in our following reportage.
This is a test launch of a new development by the Ukrainian defense industry, the Strela interceptor drone. Its task is to destroy enemy aerial targets, such as strike drones of the Shahed, Guran, and Gerbera types, as well as reconnaissance UAVs. The interceptor has already undergone combat testing and has been approved by the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine.
This blue cone shows the direction the antenna is pointing. The triangle is the imaginary target, and the square is where that imaginary target will be when we approach it. This story began a year ago. We would arrive at positions with crews of 5 people, and that was considered normal because there were no servo mechanisms and no common understanding of how the system should work. Now, operating this system actually requires only 2 people.
The interceptor drone reaches a maximum speed of about 350 kilometers per hour, making it one of the fastest in its class.
For example, this is the kind of system that will allow 1 pilot to operate drones over half of a region, or 2 pilots to cover almost the entire region. In Kyiv, there might be 3 to 5 pilots. The main idea is to reduce the number of personnel needed to operate a large number of drones. That is the primary task.
The plan is to deliver 15,000 interceptor drones to the front lines. They will be transferred to units of the National Guard of Ukraine. Germany is financing the supply as part of a multi-million euro agreement, the exact value of which has not been disclosed.
We are talking about a strategic partnership and long-term investment in Ukrainian technologies, in a unique technological solution from a Ukrainian manufacturer, the manufacturer of the interceptor called Strela. And once again, I want to emphasize that for us, this is work on the ground, work to help Ukraine repel attacks and close its airspace.
Ukrainian specialists have developed one of the most effective drone countermeasure technologies in the world, which is now being scaled up to industrial levels by international defense companies. Reported by Natalia Bielokudria, UATV News.
It seems to be it for today. My name is Henry Keane. Thank you so very much sincerely for your time and for your attention. We feel it and we appreciate that in Ukraine. Please also comment, like, subscribe even to our channel so you can stay tuned to what tomorrow holds for all of us globally. UATV will be there to keep you posted on all of that mayhem as usual in Ukrainian perspective. So stay safe and tuned for more tomorrow. Goodbye.